Is 380 FMJ better than you think? Today we're going to find out. Welcome back to LocaCarnivore. Glad you could make it. Today's question, is 380 FMJ better than you think? We're going to have the answer for you at the end of the video, so stick with us. And specifically, we selected some Federal American Eagle 95 grain FMJ. And this load has an advertised muzzle velocity of 980 feet per second, which equates to 203 foot-pounds of energy. Test gun for today is a Glock G42, 380 obviously, with a 3 1/4 inch, 3.25 inch barrel. The 380 has always been a problematic cartridge throughout its history. It is underpowered compared to most common self-defense handgun calibers. It makes about half the energy of an average 9mm or 45 round, and it's 1/3 the energy of a 10mm. This puts 380 in a kind of a weird little, twilight zone all of its own, in that the hollow points in this caliber really underpenetrate. They have a well-earned reputation for underpenetrating. We've already done tests on 2 different hollow point loads, and you can see the videos on that. The links are down in the description there. But on the flip side, the full metal jacket has a reputation for being maybe a little too penetrative. It's not maybe as bad as, say, 9mm or 10mm full metal jacket, but it does, like any non-expanding round, have the potential to penetrate a little more than what you might want in a self-defense scenario. Hey, give us a big like on this, thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. We'd love to have you on the team, and don't forget to hit that notification bell. Given the problems with 380 hollow points, we wanted to see if full metal jacket might actually be a decent alternative and give you enough penetration, but we wanted to make sure or assess whether or not it would over penetrate. Let's give you a quick rundown on our Frost Giant test fixture, gel test fixture. It is designed to test, or to simulate, if you will, a cross-torso shot that goes through the outer clothing on the arm itself, the clothing on the inside of the sleeve, the clothing on the torso, and then into the torso itself. And this is with heavy winter clothing. We came up with what we think is much better winter clothing analogs than what the FBI uses in their, quote, heavy clothing protocols. If you want to geek out on all the specifics, all the technoids on it, go down the description. We've got the links to the videos. You can dig into it all you want. And if you're looking for more content, by the way, we have some great stuff for you at the LocaCarnivore website. Links in the description, of course. Go on over there. Link into our store while you're at it. You can get some groovy merchandise. We'd appreciate your help in that area too. So let's get to it. Let's go down to the range and see how this full metal jacket 380 did when it hit the gel. We're going to do some very old American Eagle 95 grain full metal jacket. A lot of people out there say they prefer full metal jacket in a 380, especially in the winter. So we're going to see how this does. And we're going to see if we can put this down the middle of the block. There we go. Right next to one of the other rounds. Oh wow, all the way through. Nope, not all the way through. Oh, that wasn't bad. All right, we brought those gel blocks inside so you can get a little bit better look at the temporary and permanent cavities. We have them indoors here at the award-winning LocaCarnivore Laboratories, the award-winning LocaCarnivore Research Laboratories located at the sprawling LocaCarnivore Headquarters Complex. So the cloth pack on the outside, this is your entrance area here, and then they would have traveled through. I removed the cloth packs from between the blocks, and then we travel on through. And this is for the 380s we tested. Right underneath there is the 90 grain Winchester full metal jacket. Continuing on with the 380s. This bullet here, you have to ignore. That's a 10mm from a different test. This track here is from the 90 grain Winchester full metal jacket. Follow that along. And there's the bullet. Ignore that. That's a 10mm. That's a 10mm there. So ignore those. This is the full metal jacket, 90 grain. And again, it had just a little bit of turning somewhat, it looks like. And here's our 95 grain Winchester 380 full metal jacket. Pulled out of the gel. Exactly what you would expect. Sorry for the jiggling. Exactly what you'd expect from full metal jacket. The good news is it didn't knock the core out of the heel or anything. Of course, we didn't shoot it through anything like plywood or sheet metal or auto glass, but through all that heavy cloth, went through just fine, completely unscathed. Also had the deepest penetration of any of the 380s. There you go. Well, how about that? That full metal jacket round did a little better than what we expected. First of all, we didn't get a complete pass-through. I expected it to just blow right through that gel block, one end to the other, and it did not do that. In fact, it went 18.5 inches overall penetration, start to finish, and then in the torso, it was 11.25 inches of penetration. So that's very good. And remember, we need about 12 inches of penetration, or we'd like to get really close to that, and this round did that. It also, oddly enough, made a small, but it was there, temporary stretch cavity in that first gel block, the arm gel block, and that was about 4.5 inches by roughly 1/4 inch wide. Now that doesn't sound like a lot, but when you consider other full metal jackets, they don't make that much of an impression in the gel. It looks like just a little pencil line through the gel. So this actually had some disruption in the initial gel block. Now once it got to those second clothing packs for the inner sleeve and the torso, it didn't have enough energy. That sapped enough energy out of it to where it didn't make any more temporary cavity in the torso, but it still penetrated. Now we did get a little veering off course right at the end there, about that last 3 or 4, maybe 6 inches of penetration. It did start to angle up into the block a little bit, so we didn't get really good straight line penetration like we want in a defensive round. And we found this with other full metal jacket rounds we tested as well. It's very common for these rounds to drift off course because of that rounded, pointy sort of nose it has on it, the ogive. It just isn't very conducive to maintaining a straight path through the test media. But however, it did do pretty good, and it didn't veer out of the side of the block or anything, so it was fairly stable. It didn't tumble either, which isn't bad. And I'll tell you another thing that's not bad, and that is getting support from you folks and our Patreon. Right now, that's our major source of funding, is you folks over at Patreon. So if you wouldn't mind, go down to the link in the description, show us a little love, we'd appreciate it. Well, at the end of the day, what's the LocaCarnivore winter carry rating for this 380 FMJ load? Frankly, we think it's a good load for winter carry. I would be hesitant to use it for the other 3 seasons out of the year. Again, with winter, we're worried about big people wearing a lot of heavy winter clothing, in which case that FMJ is going to give you good penetration, necessary penetration, and much better than the hollow points will. Now, when you get into the 3-season carry, the other seasons of the year, I would shy away from the full metal jacket and go with the hollow point. Even though you're going to have a risk of slightly shallow penetration, it's better than the risk of an over penetration, because there would be enough residual energy even with the 380 to possibly do some harm. Hey, thank you so much for taking your valuable time to join us here today at LocaCarnivore. Don't forget to share this video, and we really would appreciate your comments. Do you carry 380? Do you carry 380 full metal jacket? Do you prefer that over hollow points? I mean, what's the deal? Let us know. We do appreciate everything you have to tell us. And we'll leave you with our 2 thoughts for the day. First of all, as always, the ultimate act of resistance is insisting upon facts. And second, you can learn at least one thing from everybody you meet. So pay attention.